Feels like it's been a while since our last episode.
Indeed.
Although it's only
Indeed.
been like 2.5 weeks, so I don't know why it's feeling so long. I think we've lived a
I think
lot of
we've been
life.
through, yeah, I think we've done a lot of stuff in the last 2 or 3 weeks and been through a lot of bits and pieces. And I'm really excited for us to kind of just talk about it today.
Yeah, and I actually haven't caught up with you a lot over the last 2 weeks, so I think we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you're clearly in a new location. So where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Bombay. I'm at the office. It's my first podcast
Exciting.
recording at the office.
Nice. I love your
Yeah.
background. Do you want to
Oh,
explain it a
thanks.
little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I'm just sitting in the Nail Academy room. Here's where we do all our classes and teach everything about nails. So whether you're a beginner or you're someone who wants to understand the business of nails, wants to consult and set up your own business by product, understand how to do your price list, client counseling, we kind of help with all of it. So yeah, it's an extension of the brand and the product range, which I felt like it was high time to kind of have an educational like sister company as well. So yeah, this is Ellement Co Nail Academy, and we've
Exciting.
been around for like the last 1.5 year now. So yeah, it's been really nice. I really have genuinely enjoyed the education journey because I feel like it's a way to give back versus in the retail world, there's almost no scope to give back to people. But with
Yeah.
education, you are leaving people with something that is with them for life. And we honestly believe in, I have a really strict rule with my trainers, which is no passing anyone until they are absolutely like to the best level, even if that means we need to spend extra hours teaching them and putting in extra resources. But everyone who holds a certificate from us needs to be of a certain standard at a certain level. And I think that's also what differentiates us from many other learning centers in India.
And then what they can like once they've qualified with you, they can go off and like start to like earn through a salon, like and get a job. Like how does it work?
Yeah. We also help with job placements because we supply product. So when we supply product, a lot of people ask us for staff as well. So that's one way, or another way that I really love to encourage women and men to use their education is to set up their own business and to be
Oh.
independent and to
Hmm.
buy a product range that's minimal to start with and then keep topping up and having new colors, new nail art stuff for their clients, and which gives them the freedom to work in their own time, especially women who've become moms, who have certain hours that they can work and cannot commit to a full-time job. Like nails is a really nice way to build your own personal kind of career, which you can do in your own time. And it's also great for people who are really creative because it's an art form almost. It's a
Yeah.
form of self-expression and it is a form of art as well. So like I really, really love to encourage and empower people to learn it, even if it's a hobby, and kind of make a little bit of money from it side by side or
And it's a form of
however it
connection.
works.
Like men have relationships with their barbers. Like
Yeah,
there's that
that's
whole
so
never cheat on your
true.
barber. But like
Yeah.
actually if you find a laser therapist or a nail therapist or a hairdresser that you really
Or an
connect
eyebrow
with,
lady.
yeah, we've only ever traumatized our eyebrow ladies, but it is a special relationship. Like my neighbor is a nail artist and she always like says to me, "Come, let me treat you. I want to like do your nails for you." And actually that is a form of connection. Like that's
Yeah.
for us to sit together for an hour and,
Chat.
talk and vent,
Yeah.
and how important that is in as just women. I think that that's so important to have those daily, not daily, when we're talking about monthly or
Yeah. Bi-weekly
bi-weekly,
rituals.
or
Yeah.
yeah, like my laser lady, she's known me since I was 25 and she literally remembers every detail of everything I've ever told her, to the point where when Shaq and Sumit, before each of their weddings, were getting like a manicure, just to like my laser lady was like, "So how's Foxy?" And like, I remember you telling me a few years ago about this and that, and they both came back like individually, like, "What the hell have you been talking about?" Because it was just, yeah, such a she
It
knew
is
so
kind of a
much.
little bit of a sacred relationship almost, like it's just a space that I also think someone knowing your preferences in so much detail, or like knowing how you are, like I'm really picky with my hair as well. Like whoever I go to, like actually knows. It's just, and the feeling of being comfortable surpasses any other kind of like a fancy place. Or like I always say this to everyone, nobody goes to a salon or to a I don't know, any kind of hairdress or for the space or the aesthetic. They go for the person who's doing it, the technician or the stylist. And you could be sitting in anywhere. You could be sitting in your doing it at home for the client, or you could be doing it in a fancy salon or in a regular salon. But we're going for the person. We're going because that
Yeah.
person makes us feel a certain way. And also at the academy, I feel like we really speak about client counseling, which is one of my most, favorite topics and modules, is how to counsel your client. Like how the same way you would tell your client not to damage their hair by doing extreme bleach, you would also tell your client not to do nail extensions over and over again and kind of give it a break, or like dry overlays, or there's many things that we can go into technically. But just being more mindful when you're consulting your client. It's not just about the highest ticket size. It's about valuing the health of their nails for them to come back to you and
Yeah,
to
it's a
trust you.
long-term relationship,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Do you teach like etiquette then, like how to, because like when I think back to like we've discussed this in the past with like masseuses, like chatty masseuses are just not the
Yeah.
one. And so
Yeah.
like there are times when you go to an appointment, like I go to a specific eyebrow lady because she just will not talk to me throughout that entire sitting. And when I'm, especially if I'm doing something like an invasive treatment, or like I'm pulling my eyebrows for God's sake, and I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
can't like be doing much else, then I really
You're
appreciate.
focusing on like just
Yeah,
holding yourself together and
yeah, and
going
I
like that.
appreciate if they don't talk in those scenarios. So
Yeah.
then, like, do you teach that as well, like how to decipher whether someone
Yeah.
wants a full-blown conversation or they just want to chill?
So in India, we have salons are like divided by categories. So there's A plus, there's A, there's B plus, B, and then there's C. And A plus obviously being the most premium, and C being just a mid, like a medium level salon. And we do train them in etiquette for different levels of
Ah,
salons. And it is mostly in the A plus, A and B salons that it is the non-chatty clients that go there for actual R&R. And then, you believe it or not, in the other salon, there are women who actually go as a it's their stress buster to chat with their therapist. So what we do teach them is to be able to gauge whether the
ah,
client wants to chat or not, because you can't really classify it also in A or B or C, but you can gauge your client's mood, you can gauge their body language, you can see how comfortable they are when you're asking them a question. Some people just will show you a picture and be like, do these nails for me, and do not, and put their headphones in and they won't speak. And someone actually wants their nail tech to be their therapist, so they are there
yeah,
like
yeah,
waiting to have that conversation, or to update them on what's gone on in their life, or, how have your nails grown and how is it feeling? They want to discuss it. So I think it just really depends on person to person. But yes, etiquette is something that, like, I feel is so important. I also believe the way you present yourself as a
mm,
technician, it makes the opposite person, your client, either want to get their service done with you or not, especially if it's the first time, like if I'm going in for a grooming session and the person who's grooming me has ungroomed nails or unmanicured nails, I would really think twice. Like I
yeah,
always tell all my trainers, my techs, you may not want to have your nails done, and that's fine every now and then, but having a clean manicure, like just having well manicured nails with trimmed cuticles, nicely shaped nails, even if there's no product on it, doesn't matter. But that is good. That is good behavior and etiquette in itself.
yeah, yeah, of course. Like that's just representing your brand and also their personal brand. That's
Correct.
sort of
And
what.
India's market is quite different compared to, like, obviously the UK, where people and nail services just have an absolutely
Yeah, of
different
course.
approach, because I've seen it, I've experienced it there as well, and it's just a different world. So even
Yeah.
adapting to understand this market and understand the gaps in education that other people are giving, and then fulfilling those gaps by, like I said, having modules on client counseling, on personal etiquette and grooming, and those are where like our USPs are, and that's also where I feel like I kind of come in the, you know, in that space more than the technical part, because obviously I'm not very a technical person and can't actually do the nails, but I love the business and I love
Well,
the
you've
color
strategized and
curation
spotted,
point of view. Yeah,
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 all the opportunities, because
yeah,
even the nail academy is in itself an opportunity. I didn't even realize it had been a year and a half. Where
yeah,
did that come from? Because you had been providing product for like what, 8 years?
yeah. 8 years
And
before we
then
started the academy.
so like what was that like? Like how did you spot this opportunity, and what was the process of setting up so that what you're delivering is a certification?
So we had a lot of people actually inquiring with us to learn with us, which is when I was like, wait, why don't we teach? And we anyways did trainings to salons that picked up products from us. So I felt like it was like, why not just have it open and have a space that people can come in and learn. And of course, by being in the market for so many years, I knew and understood the gaps. Like we also had people that came to apply to jobs with us, people that applied for jobs at salons that we deliver product at, and so many, fellow people in the industry who would always be like, these guys are just not up to the mark. Even if they've done an advanced course, they're just not there. And from really, really well established institutions that you would expect, the level of education to be pretty, pretty strong and bring out very well rounded people, technicians, not just technically strong, but rounded in all other ways. So yeah, that was, I feel, one of the reasons why we started was because we literally just had inquiries all the time for lessons with us, and that's how we started. And yeah, there have been a couple of processes in terms of certifications, and we've been through a lot of audits and checks and multiple processes, paperwork. And because we were already established as an organization for so many years, it kind of gave us the credibility to
Yeah.
get the certifications a little bit easier. And yeah, we also do a little bit of, we recently did a really nice activity, which I would love to share. Um,
Yes. I loved
is
this.
yeah, I really, so we got a message on our Instagram page that from a lady that literally said, would you be open to doing a class for Bombay Foundation of Deaf Women? And she simply wrote, one session could change their life.
Wow.
And I was just like, I obviously have access to all of the Instagrams and keep having a look on what's going on. And I saw that message, and immediately asked for her number and spoke to her, and she explained that she heads this organization, and they look at how to skill deaf women and how to give them a skill set that doesn't require them to speak. And genuinely, like, this was the like I had the vision of this academy as a way to give back, because I never felt like retail or product gave back, and this was so fulfilling. So we did like a 1 day workshop with them with regular polish and nail art, and then we kind of picked the ones that were really, really talented and good, and then did a more advanced workshop with them to teach them cuticle work, to teach them gel removals, to teach them nail prep. So basically, even if it was not to do advanced nail tech work like do extensions, or they could basically now serve as helpers to nail technicians to basically help with the removals, to prep the nail, to maybe do a bit of art on top, just the basics. But honestly, I wasn't there because I was in Bombay for the session, but I'm gonna go have a visit to the organization sometime this trip. And they, the feedback, like we got feedback from them in sign language of the actual
Wow.
sessions, and like I just, it was just so beautiful, and I felt so happy. And we are actually going to continue to skill them and like give them skill to be able to even then support them with job placements at salons that we supply product with
Amazing.
as well. So yeah, it's been like, it's been just so soulful and so fulfilling. And like I really did for many, many years be like, how can I give back with this business?
Well,
It's such
you
a selfish
manifested it
business. Yeah.
because like
And the
having
lady like
the
wrote to
yeah,
me that was just so, so wonderful.
having the opportunity to serve as well in a way that
Yeah.
you might not have spotted that as an organic opportunity from your own thinking, but the way that it landed, it gave you that opportunity to
Yeah,
do that. That in itself is amazing. I love that, and I
truly.
love I
Yeah.
love seeing that. And I thought that's such a good sort of like CSR project
Yeah.
because it's just
Without looking for like CSR, I was not looking for
yeah,
credits. I was not looking for like glory in doing this kind of work. It was more about genuinely giving back. And it was so, so soulful to see the response of the women, the gratitude that they had. It was just so, so nice. And I hope that we continue to get many, many opportunities to give back like that in our
yeah.
community, because there's nothing better than giving back to people in our community, and hopefully even have give them job placements
Of
in
course, that's the
salons that we
biggest
work
thing. Like,
with.
you literally taught them to fish, like you taught them to fend for themselves. And I don't know how many sort of jobs, especially jobs in the sort of beauty, lifestyle, well-being sector, can can make use of people who are
Yeah,
deaf in this way. So like you're literally giving them a revenue stream and
yeah,
a way to self-empower and provide for themselves, which
that's
is
it.
amazing.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Yes, love. So how does it feel being in Bombay, being in the office? Because how many months had it been since you'd
It's
come?
been 2 months, and I mean, for whoever knows, I keep doing my shifts here and there. Sometimes I'm here longer, sometimes I'm in Bahrain longer, whatever the season calls for. Truly, it is festive season now in India. It begins literally in August and it goes on through till January, so this is like our busiest period of the year. And so I'm here to just kind of set up stuff. We've got a couple of new cool contracts on the way in the pipeline. So yeah, I'm here to just kind of iron out all the creases and make sure that everything goes on smoothly for the next few months till I'm maybe back in September, October, just pre-Diwali, to kind of then look at
Yeah, of
things for that
course.
festive as well. But yeah, it's Bombay isn't just a place, it's a feeling. I love it.
Yeah.
There's just, you know my thoughts about it, and I feel like it's honestly shaped me in so many ways that like nothing could have, like it taught me grit, it taught me resilience, it taught me how to be a tough cookie in after being like born and brought up and sheltered in this beautiful cocoon, and like being just a little princess, and just being in the real world. Like, they say that if you can live and work in Bombay, you can live and work in anywhere in the world, because it is a tough city and it is gritty, and you really, when especially when you get into business. And when I started, there was such few women in business, Vidhu. Like, entrepreneurship for women was like really not a thing. Now you see so many women entrepreneurs, you see so many skincare brands, you see so many makeup brands, and they're all women led. And it's amazing because the last 10 years have been an absolute trajectory of change in the landscape of business in India, not just in beauty, but you see women in tech, you see women in stock market, you see women in all sorts of industries. Like, there's no, I would like to say there's no gender discrimination. I'm sure that there would be um, people who would maybe not agree with me on that, but it's been beautiful to see how empowering it is for women to be part of the working world, and whether that is, like I said earlier, whether that is by having their own little setup and working in their own hours because that's what's convenient to them. And in India, of course, being a homemaker and kind of serving your family is kind of first priority for a woman. But women, despite of doing that, are also doing other things, which really kind of shows that we can
Yeah.
do it all.
How
We are
resourcefulness.
expected to
Yeah.
do it all. I know your thoughts are, maybe you want to share something about the doing it all part.
Well, only no, I generally, of course, really agree with that point, but and I'll get into it a bit more in a little while, but I've just come back from a very nourishing spiritual retreat in Lisbon. Shakti and I went for 4 or 5 days and we were part of this retreat. I won't share what the retreat was just yet. Maybe in a few episodes' time we can get really into it. But it was a really eye-opening, inward-facing retreat, and off the back of that, I sort of came back to the UK and I was like, you know what? I don't want to do it all. And I found myself like, and it's funny because Shakti had the opposite feeling. Like he came back and we were both sort of reintegrating back into life. And he was, for the first time, like up till 4 a.m., doing his emails, like going through all the
Insane.
admin, all the paperwork. And I was just like lounging, like I was so relaxed. And then the next morning, I sort of got up and he told me all of the things that he'd done till 4 in the morning. And I was like, wow, wow. Like, because that used to be like sort of me that was really carrying
Opposites.
that mental
Yeah.
load and
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
like thinking all about all of these things. And I was struggling with my sleep because there was just so much going on. But then when I got up that next morning and he was telling me all these things, I was like, wow, like I feel like it's handled. I feel like I can depend on Shakti to do these things. I felt really safe and I felt really like that nothing was expected of me. And it made me really like it for
Quite
the
a
first
freeing
time in a
feeling.
very long time, feel very much like I don't want to do it all. And I don't want to like pressurize myself to have this really fixed routine. I don't want to like feel like I have to accomplish X, Y, and Z on my checklist. I just want to like lean in and be guided by whatever like my intuition is telling me. And I know that sounds so cliche, but like
No, I
it's
think
no
it's,
longer theory. It's now like
yeah, it's in
I've had an
practice.
experience. It's an
Experience. Yeah.
experiential
Yeah.
knowing.
Change. Yeah.
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 And like it's not just on femininity and leaning in, it's also like on boundary setting. Like I would have felt intense pressure that day to like call all the family, let them know that we're back, or go and visit them the next day. And as much as I like really want to see my family and stuff, I don't feel that rush or that need to like over explain why I can't come immediately, or I'm just like taking it really easy. And I'm really hoping that this isn't just like the effects of the retreat, like, you know, that 1 week afterwards where you're in a bit of a
Yeah.
lull, but that this is me sort of like really turning a leaf when it comes to like honoring what I feel
Yeah.
like
And living
doing.
mindfully. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, Shakti's also been really like leaning into like what he feels that he wants to do, which is why he is sort of like running like a cheetah, because I think like for him it's like the opposite in that he's like really got the drive to like do what he needs to do now.
So something so nice and simple about old school um gender roles, I feel, just the woman is supposed to do XYZ, the man is supposed to do XYZ. And sometimes when we cross over and we overstep, like we try to, like I know in the business world, sometimes just come across as so masculine and so aggressive and so like, you know, bullish almost. And that's not really feminine. That's not really like a wife's role. That's like so and it's nice to be held and for things to be looked after, like you rightly said. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like, but like I know that's probably gonna rile people up the wrong way by saying that like, oh, it's a wife's role, but it's not so much like that you can't do it. It's just that you're not. Oh, well, I'll speak personally because that's all that I
yeah,
can do. But I was not acting at the best and most fulfilled level of myself. Like I was, you know, all the terminology that people come up with, high cortisol and all of that. Like I was running on overdrive. I was like really stressed. I was, as I've said, struggling to sleep. I was just really feeling the impact on my body, on my mental health. And a part of the retreat was like trauma release work. And the facilitator that was doing it for us, literally, like he said, like he'd sort of done a therapy with me, and he'd like extracted some like trauma and energy, stagnant energy from my body. And what he said to me was that you had like, or I had like a Batman shaped black mask covering my head. And he's like dissipated that through various, and you know, like that's just so crazy. It was like it's black, it's opaque.
insane.
And I was like, I've been struggling with headaches for the last 6 months. He was like, this hasn't been like enforced on you. You've
Put it
self-imposed
on
this black
yourself.
mask. And he was like, you need to work really, like diligently now to ensure that that doesn't keep
It
being
stays off.
created. And
Yeah, yeah.
I kid you not, I've not had a headache since. And you might think,
Wow.
what, like energy work, crazy, whatever. But like the more that I've lent into this world, the more that I've just like really just like
Gives back.
followed,
Yeah,
like, yeah, like
yeah,
it just,
yeah.
it, because you start to become really sensitive to really like really gross feelings, like really like just on the surface, like even where you just feel a slight pain, you focus on it, you can release it. And we did so much like trauma release work. And I said I wasn't going to go too much into the retreat, but like I just feel really blessed to have had the opportunity to like just
It
have that
was.
time out and
Yeah.
to release a lot of things. A lot of things were left in the sort of coastline of Lisbon, a lot of tears, a lot of like
Lovely.
trauma. And yeah, just come back really like brimming with energy, but not that nervous, anxious
Yeah.
adrenaline. It's like a soft knowing.
Composed.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Can
And I
sense
can't
it
yeah, I can't wait for you to agree to do the next retreat with me.
for sure.
I'm really hoping you will, because
Yes.
honestly, I think it would just take our conversations to the next level and our feelings and our knowing and
Yeah,
awareness. But yeah,
yeah.
when the time's right.
Of course, I
Yeah.
think it's always a calling, it's always an invite, whether it's like, how we say, um, a bulava in Hindi
Mm,
for a mandir visit or a pilgrimage, like you had a bulava for um the
yeah, bro.
Mahakumbh. You made
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
How you made it against all odds. That was so
yeah.
random. You just made it. So it's a bulava, it's a calling, and I feel like, like when the calling comes, like you're just ready for it, and you just go into it, and that's where you get to experience the magic and the even the trauma release or the difficult stuff. It's not always easy, right? Like when you actually sit with yourself, there are so many things you realize that you don't actually want to maybe acknowledge, but it's
Yeah,
right there in
bro.
front of you and you have to freaking acknowledge it. So,
Yeah, yes, yes, bro. It was not a pleasant, comfortable type of
yeah,
retreat where you're just there like stretching and doing breathing exercises and feeling great.
yeah,
It was dark. It was like confronting. It took a lot. And you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I had no idea that this retreat existed. A week later, we found out, and for some odd reason, Shakti was really interested because he's never been really interested in this sort of stuff. And we had a call with the facilitator, and within like 48 hours, it was booked, and we were like,
okay.
and then
That's a
yeah,
true
we're on that
calling.
flight, and
Yeah,
like just the revelations. Even before the retreat, the revelations that I was having, I think it's funny that we've both traveled in the last 2 weeks, because I was thinking at Lisbon
yeah,
airport before
true.
we were getting picked up how the most exciting part of a trip sometimes, not in this case, but oftentimes, is that feeling that you have when you're like exiting the airport and you're in your cab to a hotel or to the apartment or wherever it is you're
Yeah,
going. And I
yeah,
know that you had that same feeling leaving
yeah,
Bombay airport yesterday, and I had that
yeah.
same feeling leaving
Bye.
Lisbon
Yeah,
airport. And I just thought,
yeah.
like, that's such a fleeting, that,
Yeah, it's such a
yeah,
momentary
yeah.
thing. Like it just doesn't, it's just those few moments for sure.
Yeah. And I think that that was inspired by a thought that I had when we were on the road and some guy was like getting into his like, I don't know, really cool sports car. I think it was like a McLaren or something. And I think this occurred to me just straight after the retreat, and I immediately just had this like feeling when I watched him get into the car, that when it comes to like material things like that, you know, that joy that you think you get when you get something is so momentary, because the
Yeah.
minute you achieve it, the minute that he would have achieved the feat of buying that car, he within
What's next?
seconds the
Yeah,
feeling is, but it's not a Ferrari.
yeah,
And it made me just think, like, you don't even get that joy of accomplishing something for even 5 minutes, because the feeling that, and I don't know if it's that I've been in self-sabotage mode, or that this is a universal feeling. I think it is a universal feeling,
Yeah, it is
but
a universal
it
feeling, I
doesn't
would say.
even go as far as like having signed the paperwork to get the
Mm,
possession, that feeling is already gone and you're already thinking about this isn't
the
enough.
next. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The next thing. I always used to feel that about um online purchases and Amazon. There was a time where I was like
Yeah.
going through some serious weird shit that I would just order every single thing I saw, feeling like I need it. Like I can't live without this spoon for my coffee or like just some dumb shit. And there was a point where I consciously had to bring myself to a pause and be like, this instant gratification that I feel or that I am like dying to go home from work and see which parcel came today, what's inside that box. And when you like open it and you're just there like, oh, but how long does that last for? You've opened it and then it's done.
And then it's just
And then
there and
what?
you're,
You want the
yeah.
next thing, and then and the same night I'm ordering something else that's gonna come 3 days later, and every day I have one parcel coming. Like that was really a point of like reflection for me, and I was like, and now I don't order anything. Like I barely order
You know
anything.
what
I will just
satisfies
go and
that?
buy it.
Yeah, what satisfies that feeling for me is putting it all in my shopping bag online or
Mm,
even in person. I practice this a lot in Lisbon because you know how Lisbon shops are just amazing. European fashion's great. One thing, and I remember going around and Shakti was getting really annoyed because I was like in the mall for ages, like going around all the shops. And then we were in one shop and I could sense he was getting like really fed up. So then I'd like packed my entire basket with all this stuff and then I left it. I just left it on the side by the counter and I walked out and I was like, you know what? I'm
it's
satisfied.
okay.
I picked
Yeah.
up all of those things that would have been really nice. And I do this a lot online as well. I put all this stuff into my shopping cart and then
Yeah.
I exit browser. And
Never.
it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
the feeling has been satisfied, but I haven't wasted a ton of
Actually gone and
money.
purchased it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a weird feeling because I didn't know that it could be satisfied until once I just had to exit browser by
Yeah.
chance, but I felt
Exactly.
satisfied.
It's
Um,
so crazy that you say that because recently I had like a million tabs open as we always do.
yeah.
And by mistake, I did something and all my tabs went. And I also had a couple of shopping carts. I also had loads of pending things that I was supposed to get. It was all gone in one button click. And every time previously that I'd opened my Google Chrome and all, I would just get anxiety looking at those tabs. And that day when it basically by mistake, I pressed the X and it didn't ask me if it should save or whatever, and it was all gone. And then when the next time I've opened it and there's just clean browsers, no tabs, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna practice not having more than 5 to 10 tabs open at one time because just looking at those tabs is
Yeah.
so anxiety inducing.
Mm,
And sometimes just Xing all that shit is just really great. Start a fresh freaking
yeah.
Google Chrome page
And if
because
it's
it's just
important
like
enough,
things build up.
you'll
It
get a
will
link
come
to
back.
it.
Yeah, yeah. You will be reminded of it in some way or the other. It will come back for you to kind of explore whenever it needs its attention. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Like you can actually just breathe again next time you open that browser and there's
yeah,
nothing there.
exactly.
Yeah, I leave a lot of
So
like articles open in my
I know
tabs and I'm
you do.
thinking
I always
one
know that
day
you
I'll
have
read
like a
them.
million tabs open.
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
same. And like honestly, this experience was like I'm literally having more than 5 tabs open at one time. And there's bookmarks for a reason. Like it doesn't need to be an anxiety inducing Chrome browser.
Mm, yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Right, I know you've got a word of the day.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share the word of the day basis on our like I just feel like it's really appropriate because of the travelers thing that we spoke about. So the word of the day is restfeber, which is a Swedish word, and it means the restless beat of a traveler's heart before the journey begins, a mix of fear and excitement about what lies ahead. It subtly embodies emotional preparation for change, a soulful stir before a personal or spiritual transformation. And
Love
I feel like
that.
every journey that we get on, every plane journey that we get on just has some kind of significance and um, for me recently it's been a lot with airports and planes, and I just feel like even acknowledging that has taken so much out of me. And I just think this word really embodies a lot of what we were speaking about, be it Lisbon, be it Bombay, be it just getting on a flight to go anywhere. But yeah, I feel like somewhere or the other, it is a soul stirring experience in its own way, right? Like the
Yeah.
anticipation of reaching your destination, even if it's a known destination, you've been to Lisbon before, but you were doing something different this time. So yeah,
And even the anticipation when you're traveling home, like, and I think for
yeah,
you, your home is sort of split into two places, so
yeah,
both stir very different emotions. But
yeah,
for me, just coming back to the UK at the end of very a very enlightening trip, was just like, right, like who am I going to be when I land? Like,
yeah,
and it's not the same old cliche thing at the beginning of the year or the end of the last year that, oh, I'm going to change, new year, new me.
yeah,
It's more
yeah,
like, what intentions can I go into this next like phase with? And
and
I
practice
think,
it
yeah,
daily.
yeah, and for once not feeling like I need to go home and hit the ground running, which has always been the case, because
Yeah,
notorious for not giving myself a day in between a break, going
yeah.
abroad and like going back to work or just going back to life. But like, bro, I landed like 3 days ago and I'm still like just leaning in, doing my own thing, like waking up, doing what I want to do, and it's been
Yeah,
great.
I'm sure that feels amazing. Honor yourself and do what your heart desires. Like, truly, we just don't listen to ourselves. We know what we want, but we keep like dulling it down. And for me, so much of knowing what I want is not going to that party or not going to that dinner party or that event. And despite of knowing it as well, I'll still like disregard it and will be like, no, I'll still go. But so much of it is like so much peace lies in honoring yourself, even if it is dishonoring somebody else, but honoring yourself. I do believe that you come first for yourself. And I'm sure that learning that through this retreat or this experience must have been a beautiful journey.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. This has definitely been my favorite episode so far. I don't know about you.
I think it gets so nice every time
Gets
we
better and
don't
better.
plan stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't plan stuff. I think that's the nicest part. It's actually really real and organic and just so unplanned. And I just want to say like a big thank you to all our listeners as well and people who reached out to me on my birthday,
Oh,
saying that they love the podcast. It was such a nice vote of confidence. And just not validation, but just genuinely
yeah.
so nice to hear because we're not doing it for validation or we're not doing it for likes or comments. We're just doing it very genuinely. And like I really I'm thankful to the people who actually took the time to, just even type those extra words out, not just a happy birthday. So thank you. You all know who
Oh,
you are. And
very sweet.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think we'll
more to
be back
come.
soon
Yeah, we'll
and
be
maybe
back.
more frequently as well. Been really
Yeah.
enjoying this, and I would love to know from our listeners as well if they would like more frequent episodes.
Yeah, and what they would like, you can
Yeah,
email
and what
us
would they like to hear? Yeah,
at findingthewordspodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at Finding the Words Podcast. We're on Spotify and YouTube. You can leave us a comment. Yeah, just get in touch. Let us know what you're thinking. And we do have actually a really exciting guest coming up. Maybe not the next episode, but the episode after that. And yeah, really excited to get into her story and her research because I think we can both relate to it very like yeah, a lot.
yeah,
So but
yeah,
yeah, we'll share more on that in due course. But yeah, thank
yeah,
you so much for listening, and we'll be back hopefully next week with a new
yeah.
episode. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.